Presidency clears air over misleading campaign spearheaded by the so-called indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. Update on coronavirus in Nigeria, and on World Ocean Day, correspondent takes a look at the issues. This is Panorama live on the NTA. I'm Ian John. Welcome. The presidency says President Muhammadu Buhari has not and will never be a rubber stamp in the discharge of his responsibility regarding appointments into offices. The presidency, in a statement, explained that the president has a duty to ensure that all such appointments meet the requirements of the Constitution and necessary security screenings. It reminded the public about the recent incident of some ministers who did not undertake the compulsory National Youth Service. In the specific case of the acting president of the Court of Appeal, Justice M.S. Dogban Mesam, the statutory regulatory time of her acting period has not elapsed and should not be regarded as an issue of ethnicity or religion. The statement therefore warned against stampeding the president in carrying out his constitutional duty in this respect. In other news, African ministers responsible for arts, culture and heritage rose from a meeting on how to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic with an 8-point communique, noting with concern how the pandemic impacted negatively on the sector. Anthony Forson reports.
The virtual meeting was chaired by Nigeria's Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed. At the end, the ministers resolved that advocacy will be the driving force to mitigate the negative impact of the pandemic in the post-COVID-19 era going forward. By this, practitioners should evolve ways and means of promoting and disseminating information on African sites of outstanding universal value through online and virtual platforms and interactive programs. The communique also advocated for cultural workers to be in the forefront of the fight against COVID-19 pandemic by using their arts as powerful tool for disseminating key messages originating from the Ministries of Health, Africa Center for Disease Control and World Health Organization. It equally called for the setting up of a cultural and creative industry scheme, just as it will provide avenues possible for accessing emergency funds to rescue cultural workers with a view to remaining relevant. The African Exim Bank was also spotted as an institution that can be approached for support, given its traditional role in supporting the sector. To this end, the commissioning of a desktop survey on the impact of COVID-19 on the cultural and creative industry was agreed upon with a view to identify the main issues. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The presidency wishes to draw the attention of all citizens and the international community to a most misleading campaign spearheaded by the so-called indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, using false allegations of persecution of Christians against the Nigerian state. Elizabeth Omori has details of a statement released by the presidency.
In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President notes that a very deep and wide investigation by an agency of the Nigerian government working with international partners revealed that there are 2 connected campaigns being run concurrently by the IPOB in this regard. Both are using the cover of Christianity and calling for a U.S. special convoy to be appointed to stop the genocide of Christians in Nigeria. But the real purpose is to drive a wedge between the Nigerian government and its U.S. and U.K. allies. IPOB leadership, of course, self-proclaims as Jewish, a position not shared by the generality of the members. For reasons of convenience, he claims to have an interest in the welfare of Christians. But this is a ruse. The case for independence, the leader believes, is strengthened by proving the government of Nigeria is autocratic, engaged in a silent slaughter of their own citizens along religion and ethnic lines, and therefore the only viable option for the unique religious and ethnic minority is a sovereign Biafra, separate from Nigeria. Nigerians and the international community are advised to be wary of this divisive campaign, which available evidence shows is being funded with a monthly spending of $85,000 since October 2019, with no records of the source of this largesse. The campaign consists of producing articles in the names of the alleged Christian NGOs, leaders of campaign groups created at the time this PR contract with a U.S. lobbying firm was signed, and letters to and from members of Congress to the White House. Unfortunately, some members of Congress have clearly been persuaded. The American charity secured a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State and has made representations to the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. The statement also notes that there's also a UK and European angle of the campaign, which is more opaque than its US sister campaign, given there's less legal requirement for public filings. But what is known of this at the moment is that their budget is sufficient to hire 4 PR firms in the UK, Belgium, France, and the US. They have founded an NGO and charity, as well as a linked web-based campaign named Stop the Silent Slaughter, which is well designed and complete with video evidence completely concocted. Members of the alleged Christian NGO have heard multiple OPED articles in conservative news websites promulgating their message of a Christian genocide. Some of those articles have also been used as evidence in the sister US campaign. 2 of those conservative news websites were co-founded by the owner of the UK PR firm they have hired to generate their publicity, as well as an OPED article in the name of a British MP who may have been convinced by the campaign under false pretense. They have secured additional coverage in France, EU, and Germany. They secured an MPS debate on the Christian genocide in the House of Commons, in which staff member of the UK PR was referenced as the private secretary to the leader of the UK-based charity.
And on coronavirus, at about midnight of Sunday, 7th June 2020, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, announced 260 new cases of COVID-19 in the country, bringing the number of confirmed cases to 12,486. After 260 new cases, Abia State recorded the highest with 67 cases, followed by the FCT with 40 cases. Lagos has 38. Ogun 19, Gombe 16, Edo 14, and Imo State 9 cases. Kwara, Katsina, Nasarawa, and Borno recorded 8 new coronavirus cases each. Kaduna 6, Bauchi 5, Ekiti 4, while Niger, Ondo, Plateau, Kano, and Sokoto have 2 cases each. Lagos still tops the COVID-19 cases chart table with 5,767 cases, followed by Kano with 999 cases, and the FCT trailing Kano closely with 952 cases. 3,959 patients who recovered have been discharged, with 354 deaths so far. And in Sokoto State, the task force on COVID-19 has confirmed the discharge of the remaining 5 patients in its isolation centers. Chairman of the task force and Commissioner for Health, Dr. Muhammad Ali Nami, gave the confirmation while briefing newsmen in Sokoto. Shehu Muhammad Dati reports.
Sokoto State was among states that recorded a large number of COVID-19 cases in the country. The state recorded 115 confirmed cases, out of which 101 confirmed by discharge, with 14 deaths recorded. Chairman, Task Force Committee on COVID-19 and Commissioner for Health, Muhammad Ali Nami, said the success story of discharging the remaining 5 patients was based on the WHO's guidelines.
Patients that were taken care in our isolation center, they have been discharged. It will not be something strange for us to have positive cases in the future, because every day we are doing tests. Every day we conduct. Even today, there are some samples that are in the lab, and we are awaiting the result of those samples.
8 out of the 23 local governments in the state were affected by the pandemic, with Wamoko local government having the highest number of cases. Even though for days Sokoto did not record any new case, the task force committee maintained that samples of suspected cases will continue to be taken for testing. Dr. Enami attributed the successes recorded to commitment of government, medical personnel, and volunteer groups in the state. Despite this development, easing of restrictions caused by the pandemic is dependent on directives of the federal and state governments. In Sokoto, Shehu Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
Now, the Zakat and Sadakat Foundation of Federation of Muslim Women Association of Nigeria, Form 1, has disbursed 100,000 naira each to 18 women, children and the sick to alleviate poverty among members of the Umar and the society at large. Hawa Gimba witnessed their disbursement and our reports.
Efforts to redistribute zakat and sadakat wealth from the rich to the poor. The Federation of Muslim Women Association of Nigeria, Form 1, is carrying out the disbursement of cash worth 100,000 naira each to 18 people in the FCT. Among beneficiaries are widows, orphans, the sick and the needy. President FCT Form 1, Bola Usman, says zakat and sadakat are acts of giving, which is one of the obligations Muslims must observe to help in supporting the needy in the society.
Zakat should be given out at the right time, as far as we are praying at the right time. It is raising the consciousness of Muslims that zakat is necessary, zakat is an obligation, zakat is what we need that can bind the poor and the rich together.
Some of the committee members of Zakat and Sadakat Foundation of Form 1 say with the coronavirus pandemic ravaging the world, the intervention is rife to help lift the spirit of those in need.
It's very encouraging, and we appeal to the Muslim Ummah to come out and pay this zakat.
I feel happy. I'm praying for them. May God rise them up more and more.
I want to do business for this morning.
Other items donated include set of chairs, face masks, hand sanitizers to help in containing the spread of the deadly virus. Hawa Gimba, NTA News.
And still talking about management of COVID-19 patients, and being joined via Zoom by Professor Suleiman Alabi. He's a professor of ENT and also a head and neck surgeon at the University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital. Many thanks for joining us, Prof.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, so, sir, situation has shown that the nose in particular has a major role to play in the transmission of COVID-19. Could you shed more light on this?
Thank you very much. The global pandemic COVID-19, it affects all parts of the body, but the ear, nose, and throat region are particularly areas that one should be wary of, because the viral load in the nose, the mouth part of the body, they are quite huge. So there is need for the ENT specialists to take precautions in the process of managing any patient. So once you have a high index of suspicion that an individual is COVID-19 positive until otherwise proven.
Okay, so what's the role of ENT experts in the management of COVID-19?
The role of ENT are quite myriad. Usually the ear, nose, and throat, particularly the nose and the throat, there are areas that, as you are all aware, the aerosol is COVID-19 viral infection is simply due to droplet aerosols. So during the process of aerosol release of these secretions, the surgeon, the ENT is exposed, and then that is why there is need to take precautions such as hand washing, the use of sanitizer, the use of appropriate face mask, that is the FFP type, or the N95, which are resistant to secretions. And of course, the need to put on a protective headgear, protective glasses too. And then, of course, the impermeable PPE, that is the gown itself, that resistance to fluid coming in.
Okay, so Prof, talking specifically now about face masks and the absorption of oxygen into the system, what's your professional take on how to manage the situation to accommodate prevention of the virus and sustenance of healthy living?
The use of face mask essentially is to prevent people, especially in an area where there is a high rate of it, so that the person that is infected will not go ahead to infect other people, especially in public places. And then the face masks, there are specific types. The usual, so either the local limit, but the one that is recommended are the surgical ones that has layers that will be able to absorb the secretion in advent of coming in contact with an individual that is having COVID-19 and an individual that is positive for COVID-19 disease.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Alabi, for joining us.
You are welcome.
Okay, now, Nigeria is one of the countries of the globe that has a story to tell regarding COVID-19. She's also one of the nations that is tackling issues associated with the pandemic with all vigor. In this report, Deborah Agbola takes a look at life after COVID-19 lockdown.
The nation has been grappling with socio-political, economic and religious issues that seem unusual in the life of the nation.
I miss many things concerning business that is going around. All the economics is down.
I thought it was a joke until we recorded the first case in Nigeria.
Various measures such as lockdown, quarantine, self-isolation, curfew and interstate travel ban became popular among the people to the extent that it became a daily term in the nation's media. In fact, the news is not completed without the usage of some of these terms to buttress the impact of the disease and the steps being taken to curtail it. Hope of normalcy is what the people are looking forward to.
You know, it has been very tough. It's just that when you have hope in God, you believe in God and you put your trust in Him, you know, He just makes a way.
Far or near, what should the people prepare for after COVID-19?
We are actually in the era of digital economy. So it is advised that individuals should look away from government jobs and rather take advantage of the technological innovation to bring about business and economic activities to take them out of poverty.
The good news for now is Nigeria is among the countries that is tackling this scourge with all vigor and policies. Deborah Agbola, NTA News.
Many thanks, Deborah. We'll take a break now. Panorama returns shortly.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Good to have you back. The Deputy President of the Senate, Ovie Omoagege, has denied asking the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to probe the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs. A statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the Deputy President of the Senate, Yomi Odunuga, Senator Omar Agege explained that a letter said to have emanated from the clerk of the Senate acting on his behalf and requesting the chairman of the anti-graft agency, Ibrahim Magu, to investigate the minister did not come from him. The deputy president of the Senate described the document as fake, insisting that he never instructed the clerk or any other person to contact the EFCC to investigate any individual, and called on the public to disregard the letter. Every year, on the 8th of June, global attention is drawn to the wealth of marine and coastal biodiversity by commemorating World Ocean Day. For this year, 2020, the day highlights interlinkages of the problems humanity face and opportunities to harness ocean resources in a safe manner. Onengiye Fineface has more.
Covering approximately 71% of Earth's surface, the ocean is responsible for 97% of water on Earth and serves as the largest source of protein, with billions of people depending on its biodiversity for their livelihoods. World Oceans Day 2020 provides an opportunity for the global community to honor, help protect, and conserve the ocean.
When we say we want to conserve oceans, what we mean is that even the land that surrounds the ocean have to be conserved, because a lot of marine animals come out to come and breed at the beaches. So if you destroy their habitat, how do you protect them?
The theme, Innovations for a Sustainable Ocean, draws public attention to the impact of human actions on the ocean, develop a worldwide movement of citizens for the ocean, and mobilize people to manage marine and coastal biodiversity in a sustainable manner.
We need to ensure that our water bodies are not contaminated. Our water bodies do not become scenes of dangerous and destructive exploitation. They don't deny our fishers from getting the fish on which they survive.
Emphasis is placed on celebrating the beauties, wealth, and promise of the ocean. In Abuja, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
And on security, scores of armed bandits have been neutralized and their weapons destroyed in airstrikes executed by the air component of Operation Hadarin Daji at two separate bandit camps, Sibiri and Mayan Zurmi local government areas of Zamfara State. In a statement signed by the Coordinator of Defense Media Operations, Major General John Eneche, this was recorded on June 6, 2020 as part of offensive operations to rid the northwest and north-central states of armed banditry. The air interdiction mission at Sibiri, located 15 kilometers east of Zurmi, was executed after credible human intelligence reports. Two Nigerian Air Force attack helicopters were then dispatched, scoring accurate hits on the target area, leading to the destruction of the structures which stored weapons and ammunition, and also neutralized the bandits in their huts and surrounding bushes. The attack helicopters conducted similar airstrikes on another camp south of Mayam, which also resulted in the killing of more armed bandits, including some of their leaders, as they gathered for a meeting at the location. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, commends the air component of Operation Hadarin Daji for their professionalism. Now, the attention of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has been drawn to the fake news trending on social media that President Muhammadu Buhari will on June 12 broadcast to the nation the absorption of NPOWER volunteers Batch A into the Federal Civil Service. The ministry hereby calls on the public to disregard the message and consider it as fake news. A statement by the Deputy Director of Information of the ministry, Rhoda Ishaku Ilya, says any information on NPOWER for the National Social Investment Program will be issued through the appropriate federal government channels. Now talking sports, the Court of Arbitration for Sports is today hearing the appeal of Manchester City against their 2-year ban from European club competitions by UEFA. A panel of 3 is hearing the case via video conferencing to last 3 days. For more, let's join Amanzi Marcus.
Bahrain's World 400 meters women champion Salwa Eid Nasser on Saturday reacted to her provisional suspension Friday by the Athletics Integrity Unit over whereabout violations. According to her, and I quote, "I only missed 3 drug tests, which is normal. It happens. It can happen to anybody. I don't want people to get confused in all this because I will never cheat," unquote. She faces a 2-year ban as World Athletics whereabout violations is a combination of 3 missed tests or filing failures, which in this case occurred prior to the World Athletics Championships in Doha in 2019, where she won gold in 48.14 seconds. On Sunday, the Athletics Integrity Unit explained there was a 4th whereabout failure in January 2020, and a notice of charge was issued in an ongoing disciplinary procedure. Nasser's winning time of 48.14 in Doha 2019 is the fastest in 34 years and the 3rd fastest in history. Born as Ebele Chukwu Abakpongu in Anambra State in 1998 to a Nigerian mother, the 22-year-old athlete started competing for Bahrain in 2014 following a shift of allegiance from Nigeria. She equally changed her name to Salwa Eid Nasser. Meanwhile, the English Premier League has announced a 0 positive test for coronavirus from a sample of 1,195 players, technical crew and staff. The result is from the 6th run of tests conducted twice weekly and comes ahead of EPL restart on June 17. And still on football, Africa, especially Nigerian football stakeholders, remember the late Super Eagles captain and coach Stephen Keshi, who died in Benin City, Edo State on June 7, 2016. In the 4th anniversary of his death, Nigerians recall with happiness the country's maiden appearance at the FIFA World Cup in USA 94, coming on the heels of Nigeria's 2nd AFCON title in Tunisia 94, with Stephen Keshi as captain. 19 years later, Stephen Keshi as coach led the Super Eagles to a 3rd AFCON title in South Africa. He belonged to the golden generation of Nigerian footballers that placed Nigeria 5th in the FIFA rankings. The Sports Updater Manzi Marcus, NTA News.
And that's Panorama today. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.